A lot of people on my TikTok that's like blowing up right now about my engagement ring, what I want for an engagement ring, like not even close to getting engaged, but a lot of people are like, why have you been thinking about engagement rings since high school? Or also are like, I don't even like think about this stuff. And I figured it's a good time for me to explain my lore because I do work in the wedding industry. So ever since high school, I have known that I wanted to do like weddings and events. I literally have a paper that I wrote. It was for my like women's writing seminar senior year of high school and we did like a paper about Joyce Carol Oates's Where Are You Going, Where Have You Been? And I like somehow related it to like my life and wrote about how when I like grew up, I knew that I wanted to plan weddings. So fast forward to college, I joined a sorority. I am planning so many of their events. We would do big philanthropy events. We would do a big sisterhood retreat that I would plan. We obviously go through recruitment. I was on the e-board for like the school Panhell, and helped with recruitment, really started planning events and then found my major, which was a music industry major with a business specialization. So then at that point, I was super into concerts, very into music. I still am very into music. But I found this major and was the co-director of the touring department for our student-run record label. So any concert that they were planning, that was my job. So then post-college, I graduate literally the day that I'm driving home. I get an interview with Live Nation and pretty much immediately started working for them as a production runner and production assistant. So obviously a little bit different than weddings, but I would assist with all of the concerts in New England. So for like a year, that's what I was doing up until COVID hit and I kind of had to make a little change. So COVID happens. I end up working in HR for like a year. And then I was living in Philly at the time. Philly opens back up and says, COVID, like occupancy limits are off the table. And I say, I'm not doing HR anymore. Like get me back to events. So at this point, I then go work at a country club outside of Philly. They were a really high volume venue. Being a country club, I don't want to say that they prioritized weddings and events more, but they definitely had like a high priority when it came to weddings and events. So I worked at this venue for about 2 years before deciding to move back to Boston 2 years ago. So then when I moved back, I got a job at a school in Newton doing all of their advancement, which is like a fancy way of saying fundraising, primarily doing their advancement events. So they would do like a big gala every year and they would do they called them their community dinners, helping with the monthly events for their parent association. All of that kind of stuff is what I was doing. And then I was also doing a lot of like the internal event related things at the school. There were a lot of other pieces of that job that were not events related that, I didn't love as an events girly. So I ended up finding a job posted on LinkedIn for my current job that I have right now, back doing event sales at a venue in Boston. And that is kind of where we have landed now, and probably a place that I will be at for a very, very long time. I don't ever see a reason to, leave this job. This is kind of like, when it comes to what I want in terms of events, like the dream. I do corporate events, so I don't do weddings specifically anymore. We have someone new starting on our team to do weddings, so I have been helping a little bit in the interim. Weddings are not my personal fave in terms of work, though I am obsessed with them. So that is my lore. I am also on the board of this organization called NACE for their Boston chapter. I just got asked to join their board. And it is the National Association of for catering and events. So I work in the industry. It's things that I think about constantly. Literally Friday, right after I posted that video that is now blowing up, gave a wedding tour of the venue that I work at. That is my lore. That is everything about my career journey. Just a girly who has known for a very, very long time that events is where she wanted to be, and that is where I am.